Tonight, a man now charged with setting one of the most destructive wildfires in Washington state's history. Police accusing him of igniting the inferno that burned home after home to the ground in Spokane. Families losing everything as others wait to hear if anything's left. The risk right now, flames still closing in on communities. Also tonight, the battle for the future of the Democratic Party. The key primary test in Michigan. Will the progressive wave overtake the establishment? We've got full team coverage. Plus, a salmonella outbreak at Chipotle. Jalapeños there suspected of making hundreds of people sick. Is the guac safe? What you need to know. Roomba getting sucked into a U.S. ban on foreign-made robots. Could it drive up prices for smart vacuums? And the terrifying close call on a highway. A driver jumping onto the median to avoid getting hit. What happened next? And rough surf. The Dogs hanging 10 in this year's surfing championship. Plus, we're following breaking news. A man arrested with a pistol and rifle at the president's golf course. The details just coming in. Top story starts right now. Good evening. I'm Gabe Gutierrez in for Tom. We begin tonight with a major update in those devastating wildfires in Washington state. A man accused of starting the most destructive blaze in Spokane's history is in custody tonight as those raging infernos burn out of control. Police say he intentionally started the fire that's now destroyed hundreds of homes and forced tens of thousands of people to evacuate. This is the view from a firefighter frantically trying to push back those flames. The damage just heartbreaking to see. Before and after satellite images reveal entire neighborhoods wiped out. Residents on the ground discovering their homes are now smoldering ruins. The 37-year-old arson suspect appearing in front of a judge for the first time today, but not yet entering a plea. And right now on the East Coast, we're tracking another weather threat, severe flash floods in Virginia, cars swept away in Norfolk. Water levels in some areas high enough to jet ski through the streets. Our Bill Cairns is tracking it all from coast to coast. But we begin tonight with Morgan Chesky, live from the fire zone in Spokane. And Morgan, we're learning new details about the suspect tonight, who's already a convicted felon.
Yeah, Gabe, that's right. He was convicted back in 2010 of manslaughter for killing his own father in Arizona. And authorities are giving an incredible amount of credit to witnesses who saw him incredibly close to the very location where the very blaze that burned this entire neighborhood broke out.
Tonight, the man authorities say is responsible for the most destructive fire in Spokane, Washington's history, under arrest and in court.
Yes, Your Honor.
The sheriff releasing this image of officers arresting Aaron Farinacci, tying the 37-year-old to the Old Trails fire, which aerial footage shows decimated entire neighborhoods and turned hundreds of homes to ash.
He was found to be in possession of some waterproof matches and a butane lighter.
Farinacci has a prior conviction of manslaughter, found guilty in Arizona for killing his own father in 2010. Released from prison 6 years ago, he's now being held on a $1 million bond, charged with one count of first-degree arson. The Spokane fires forcing nearly 70,000 people to evacuate, many of them taking refuge at the city's convention center, including Jocelyn Beaumont, who says the flames are now walking distance from her home.
We're waiting to see where the fire is going. I understood that the wind had changed. North, it's going to hit us. South, it's going to go back over itself.
Last night, we met the Andersons.
That's our house.
Who lost their home. Today, we met their daughter, Lindsay Sabo, her husband, Chris, and two children, Colin and little sister, Leah.
Well, my friend's house burned down, so that was more memories.
The Sabos telling us they just paid off their home 5 weeks ago.
All of our things are gone. We have nothing.
It, too, like her parents' home, reduced to rubble. To hear all of this may have been the work of an arsonist.
Yeah, I mean, I think to say we're mad and upset are a vast understatement.
It feels impossible that one person could cause this much damage to people and to property and to a community.
And Morgan Chesky joins us once again from Spokane. So, Morgan, has the suspect said anything about these fires?
Yeah, Gabe, upon being arrested, Farinacci did tell authorities that he had nothing to do with any of these fires. However, he has yet to issue a formal plea. That is anticipated to happen on Thursday when he's set to have his arraignment. Gabe.
Morgan Chesky live for us in Spokane. Morgan, thank you. And now let's get right to meteorologist Bill Cairns. And Bill, those fires out in Washington continue to burn. We just saw those before and after images that show just how widespread this destruction is. Walk us through the conditions right now, and is the wind improving at all?
Yeah, the wind's actually been knocked down over the last couple of days. That has helped things. But I got to show you some more of those before and during pictures. These aren't really before and afters. You notice this was taken Saturday evening as the flames were still active in many of the homes and throughout many of the structures. And you can see how some houses get hit. Now watch as we screen here. This was one of the worst hit neighborhoods. There's not many homes that were untouched as we went throughout this neighborhood. This is close to where Morgan is located. And you can just see how the fire started here and just swept down towards the south. And some homes were actually, untouched, and others were hit. It was kind of similar to almost like a tornado, or in some cases a hurricane. This was just one house that was just completely taken out. So let's show you what we're dealing with. These are the three fires. The Old Trails fire, that's the one that caused most of the structural damage to all the homes. Still 0% contained, but the winds have been down. Because the winds are not really mixing the air much, the smoke is just sitting there, and it's just drifting. These numbers are horrible in areas all through Washington and now in Oregon, too. Anything into the red is considered unhealthy, very unhealthy, the purple. We got a few spots that are in the hazardous area, and now it's starting to sneak its way from Portland down the I-5 corridor, and that's going to be the problem as we go throughout tomorrow and as we head even into Thursday. We're going to see really thick smoke in the I-5 corridor, the Pacific Northwest, and then a good chunk of that smoke drifts all the way across the country as we go throughout the middle of this week. So bad air quality, so many areas. And on top of this, we still got the heat wave that we're dealing with in many areas of the West. And the temperatures, Gabe, are going to go skyrocketing again. Oregon into the mid 100s, and Spokane still dealing with the cleanup efforts and trying to put the flames out into the mid 90s.
It's remarkable to see all those air quality concerns, considering the East Coast and Midwest had those issues with the Canadian wildfires recently. Now, Bill, I know you're also tracking some developing news, some severe weather on the East Coast, some flash floods. Take a look at video from Virginia showing cars stalled in the floodwaters. What's the biggest concern there at this hour?
Slow-moving thunderstorms, and this may try to sneak up towards Washington, D.C. as we go throughout this evening. So we've had as much as 6 to 10 inches of rain in isolated spots not far from the Norfolk area, and then right towards the Richmond. All of these areas in maroon here is where we have active flash flood warnings, and now Washington, D.C. is under a flash flood watch. This is the beginning of an extremely humid, the highest humidity levels and highest dew points we've seen this summer are going to head up the East Coast. Just a warning for everyone from D.C. all the way to southern New England. Get ready. It's going to be a Florida-like feel for at least the next week.
Bill Cairns, a lot to watch tonight. Bill, thank you. And we're also following breaking news tonight. Authorities arresting an armed man at a Trump golf course in California shortly before the president's visit. Liz Kreutz is following this for us. And Liz, what do we know about the weapons this man allegedly had with him?
Yeah, Gabe, well, he had a lot of them, according to authorities. The LA County Sheriff's Department says that this happened on Saturday afternoon. The man they say they arrested is 38-year-old Janine John Taylor from Downey, California. Officials say that plainclothes federal agents noticed him acting suspiciously at the Trump National Golf Course nearby here in Rancho Palos Verdes, taking photographs and videos and appearing to monitor security planning activities ahead of President Trump's planned visit to the golf course tonight. Police say deputies then approached him, and that is when they determined that he was actually being investigated for a prior local robbery. They detained him, and that is when they say they found a number of concerning items in his car and then later at his home, including an illegally modified AR platform rifle, a pistol, body armor, high-capacity magazines, 2 radio signal devices, and multiple notebooks containing concerning statements. It's still unclear what exactly those notes said. Authorities also haven't said if President Trump was mentioned in any of them at all. But notably, Gabe, this is now the second time this year that someone has been arrested on or near this golf course. Back in April, police detained a 36-year-old man who they say was armed with several weapons and wandering around the coastal trails near the property. As for this latest incident, though, police say the man they arrested on Saturday is now in custody, facing multiple felony charges, including several that are weapons related. He appeared in court this afternoon. Bail was set at $250,000, and he pled not guilty, Gabe.
Liz Kreutz with those developing details out of Los Angeles. Liz, thank you. And now to the biggest election night we'll see before November. Voters casting ballots for high-stakes primary races across 5 states tonight, including the key swing state of Michigan, where the Democratic primary for one of the most critical Senate seats in the country is a divisive battle for the soul of the party between moderate Congresswoman Haley Stevens and progressive Abdul El-Sayed. We're tracking seats in battleground districts on the line right now in Virginia as well, where polls have just closed. Steve Kornacki is tracking it all for us from our Decision Desk headquarters. And Steve, what are you watching for in Virginia specifically?
Yeah, a couple districts we're keeping an eye on. One is the 1st congressional district. You see the Republican incumbent here, Rob Whitman. He is unopposed. Take a look here on the Democratic side here. That's where the action is tonight. The primary here, it's a bit of a crowded field for the Democratic nomination to take him on. Shannon Taylor has raised the most money. She has the most support. She's a prosecutor in Henrico County that's in this district. You can see it kind of extends from Richmond, the Middle Peninsula, up to the northern neck there in Virginia. The backdrop here, this is a district that Donald Trump carried. It's traditionally been a Republican district, but not by that much. This is one that Democrats feel if they're having a big year, if the tide's really at their back, they think they can put this district in play. We're going to find out who their candidate is here momentarily. In the 2nd congressional district, this is the Democratic primary there. Again, a bunch of candidates. The expectation is that Elaine Luria will win this. We'll see what happens. I say the expectation is that because she's a former Congresswoman. She held this seat previously. She was defeated for re-election by Jen Kiggins, who's the Republican incumbent running unopposed here. This is around Virginia Beach. If this is another rematch, another contest between these candidates, it is in absolutely dead-even political territory. Virginia's 2nd district this fall will be one of the most closely watched races anywhere in the country.
Steve Kornacki, thanks. We're going to come back to you in just a moment. But right now, polls are still open in those critical primaries in Michigan. Our Shaquille Brewster is on the ground in Detroit covering those races tonight.
Tonight, a test for Democrats deeply divided over the direction of their party. A critical Senate primary in Michigan, pitting establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens against the progressive, former health director Abdul El-Sayed, endorsed by Bernie Sanders and AOC.
What got you out here today, then?
Abdul specifically. This is the first time that I've actually gotten to vote for a candidate that excites me.
El-Sayed campaigning on Medicare for All and abolishing ICE. In the past, he's expressed support for defunding the police, though he's since backtracked.
What do you say to someone who's skeptical that someone as progressive as you can win statewide in a state that's as purple as Michigan is?
People are so sick and tired of establishments on both sides of the aisle that are bought off by the corporations.
He's also intensely critical of Israel.
The difference between us is $46 million of AIPAC spending.
Stevens calls herself a proud pro-Israel Democrat with major backing from AIPAC, the American lobbying group focusing on supporting the Jewish state.
I very much believe in a two-state solution. My Democratic opponent doesn't.
She spoke with NBC's Julie Sirkin.
I have a record. Michiganders are going to be able to look at it and see that I was chief of staff on the U.S. Auto Rescue, that I've stood up to Donald Trump.
This Democrat telling us she's voting for Stevens.
I'm worried that Abdul El-Sayed cannot win in the general election.
And that's your top priority?
Yes.
And while neither identifies as a Democratic socialist, President Trump blasting both.
You have a communist versus a socialist. That's the way I look at it.
And Shaquille Brewster joins us now from a polling location in Detroit. Now, Shaq, after this divisive primary, are there concerns that Democrats will have a hard time rallying for a single candidate in November?
Gabe, that is always a question after these vicious primaries that we have seen throughout the process and throughout the cycle. Tonight, both candidates are insisting that they will support the other if they lose tonight. But I'll tell you, some voters are saying it's not going to be that easy for them. One of the things that voters are bringing up is the spending that we saw throughout this primary. Just look at this graphic showing the disparity in those television ads and the spending there. Haley Stevens getting the overwhelming majority of that spending. About half of her spending, $30 million, coming from a group connected to a pro-Israeli AIPAC group. That has upset some people here in Michigan. But again, both candidates are saying that they know that there's going to be work to do on the other end of this primary to help bridge that divide that we've been seeing, Gabe.
Shaquille Brewster reporting live for us in Detroit. Shaq, thank you. And you're here to break down the state of play. My colleague and anchor of Meet the Press, Kristen Welker, and Steve Kornacki is still with us at the big board. Kristen, as we mentioned, this is the biggest election night until November. Something that has really struck me is that the previous primaries where progressives really had gained some momentum. That was in blue cities. Michigan, of course, a very purple state. What are you watching most closely tonight?
Well, that's what makes this so unique, Gabe. You're absolutely right. This is unfolding in a purple state. That huge Senate race that Shaq is watching. There are also a number of critical House races in Michigan, including in the 7th District, where Democrats are hoping to unseat Republican Congressman Tom Barrett. And there are 3 Democratic candidates, Gabe, 2 moderates, Bridget Brink and Navy SEAL Matt Masdom, facing off against progressive candidate William Lawrence, who's also earned the endorsement of Senator Bernie Sanders. And the question here is, will this 3-way election divide voters around the 2 moderate candidates and actually create a pathway for Lawrence? Tonight, overall, could be a test of progressive energy, Senator Sanders' strength. He's endorsed 4 different candidates, Gabe, who are up for election tonight. And we cannot overstate this. This is the biggest test for progressives so far in this midterm election cycle. We are going to learn a lot as we watch tonight's results come in.
Yeah, it really does seem to be a battle for the soul of the Democratic Party. And Steve, Democrats are trying to retake Congress. How crucial really is this Senate seat in Michigan? Do they have a path otherwise?
Yeah, look, it's really interesting because there has been some polling out there that's shown Stevens running a lot better in the general election than El Sayed against Mike Rogers. Take a look at the balance of power in the Senate right now. Obviously, Republicans with the majority. Democrats need to get to 51 seats. That means they need a net gain of 4 seats. Take a look at the Senate map here. These are all the states that have Senate elections this year, the party that now controls it. So, right, Democrats need to flip 4 red into blue. And you take a look at Michigan. Remember, this is a Democratic-held seat right now. The incumbent is not running for re-election, but it counts currently as a Democratic seat. So if Democrats lose this in the general election, that makes them 1 more seat they need to gain. So then the number would be 5. They would need to come up with 5 Republican seats. Look, they talk about getting Maine, Susan Collins there. They talk about getting North Carolina. You know, Trump won it by a narrow margin. Democrats have a popular former governor running. Once you get beyond those 2, they got to start winning states that Trump won by double digits. They got to win places like Texas or Ohio or Iowa or Alaska. Right now, they got to win at least 2 of them. You lose Michigan, you're a Democrat, you got to win 3 of those Trump plus 10 states. There aren't a lot of people out there who think they can do that.
And Kristen, we are watching we're seeing tests for President Trump here as well. What is his critical outcome or his best scenario outcome tonight?
Yeah, it's a good question, Gabe. I mean, he's endorsed a number of candidates tonight, candidates in Virginia, Michigan, the gubernatorial race in Kansas, the gubernatorial race in Michigan, Virginia. So we're going to be watching all of these Trump-backed candidates to really try to get a sense of what type of energy they have. What does turnout look like for these candidates? But the big test is really going to come in November, Gabe, and that's when this could really become a referendum on President Trump. Look, he is facing some of the lowest approval ratings of his entire presidency. The Iran war now entering the 5th month, despite the fact that he said it would only last a matter of weeks. Gas prices above $4 a gallon, and Republicans who I've been speaking with getting really jittery about the prospect that if this war does not end soon, if gas prices don't start to come down soon, they are concerned that they could pay a very heavy price in November. So again, Gabe, we'll be watching what the enthusiasm looks like on the Republican side tonight, but the big test is really going to come in November.
And, you know, Kristen, to that point on gas prices, Steve, I want to take it over to you and talk about the economy for a second. We saw a record day for the S&P 500 and the Dow, driven in part by actually optimism about oil prices driving in the future. But the cost of living, as Kristen mentioned, remains a critical issue for voters across the country. So what do you make of that, and where do you see this going in the coming months when it comes to the economy? What is the polling telling you?
Well, that's been the big opportunity politically for Democrats. It's been the albatross for Republicans. Look, the president's a Republican. His overall approval rating, this is an average of the polls, is under 40%. On the question of the economy, it's just 36 on Iran. 36%. So really low marks. Every Republican candidate around the country in some way is saddled with this because it's a Republican president. The flip side is if Republicans think they've got something that can help them, it's the Democratic Party's move to the left that we've seen in these primaries. We might be seeing in Michigan tonight. Look at this question of socialism. Recent poll here among Democrats, a majority have a favorable view of socialism. Independents, look at this, overwhelmingly negative, 77%. Republicans think for all the negatives they've got to deal with around Trump and the economy, people may give the Democratic Party a long pause before voting for those candidates, too.
And, Steve, I'm being told in my ear that we're getting some results out of Virginia. What can you tell us on that?
Well, I got to call up Virginia and see. Let me take a look here. It might take me a second if you bear with me here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kristen, why don't we go to you really quickly? The president, he's been downplaying any concerns about the economy heading into these midterms. The war in Iran also is a big concern for many voters, but the president says that he's not taking the war in Iran into consideration when making, he's not taking any political decisions when figuring out what to do next in Iran. How much of this will weigh on the administration in the coming weeks and months as we head into this midterm campaign?
Well, you have to imagine, Gabe, and based on my conversations, this is already weighing incredibly heavily on the administration, on the president himself. You're absolutely right. He does downplay the impact on the economy, basically making the case that he believes he's doing the right thing in Iran. He argues gas prices are going to start to come down overnight as soon as the war ends. But that's the question. Where is the off-ramp to the war, Gabe? And yes, the president has halted any further military strikes for now to allow diplomatic negotiations to move forward. But as you know, there was a ceasefire in place that Iran effectively violated. And so strikes resumed back and forth between the United States and Iran. So this is a volatile situation. And again, it doesn't appear as though the president at this point in time has an off-ramp, but still defiant, Gabe, that the economy will get better as soon as this war ends. That's the big question. When's it going to end?
Thanks, Kristen. I want to go back to Steve. It's so great to have you here as you walk us through these results as they come in. Have you had a chance to look to see what's been going on in Virginia?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, there's really only two competitive races here tonight that we're keeping an eye on. The first here is in the 1st Congressional District. And again, some of the votes, just a small amount coming in here. Shannon Taylor, as I said, this is the race that Democrats think they can put in play this November. Shannon Taylor there with an early lead in what's come in right there. Again, she has the most money, by far the most backing here. So not necessarily a surprise to see that, nor is it a surprise to see this. Again, about 17% in 2nd District. Again, we say this is going to be one of the most closely watched in November. Elaine Luria, former member of Congress. There was every reason to believe she was going to win, and indeed she has won easily the Democratic nomination. And so Luria is going to face off in the general election against Congresswoman Jen Kiggans. It's a rematch. Kiggans beat her the last time around. Let's see if what happens this November. But again, the backdrop for this is a district that was basically dead even in 2024, and you're going to be hearing an awful lot about between now and November.
Steve Kornacki at the big board, Kristen Welker here with me in Washington. Thanks so much to you both. And stay with us all right here on NBC News Now. Kristen, Hallie, and Steve will be breaking down all the results as they come in with special coverage starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. The Kornacki cam actually fires up at 7:45. And for even more updates and analysis throughout the midterms, make sure to subscribe to Steve's new weekly newsletter, Data Dive with Steve Kornacki, out every Tuesday. Turning overseas now to frightening video out of Ukraine. A civilian chased down by a suspected Russian drone before it explodes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky comparing the attack to a hunter on a safari. Here's Keir Simmons with that video.
The sound of a drone, a scream, and then a terrifying game of cat and mouse. You can see in this video released by the Ukrainian military a frightened Ukrainian vegetable vendor trying to get away from that drone. It appears to hunt him down. Then this. Yuri, shrapnel in his back, says, "I was trying to get away, but it kept coming at me." Many would hardly know this small drone, which Ukraine says is Russian, carried such powerful explosives. President Zelensky calls it drone safari, Ukraine accusing Russian forces of hunting civilians. Here, a woman on a bike is pursued. She was wounded in the leg. While Ukraine has been using AI drones to help reach long distances into Russia, like this attack that hit the Kremlin's bomber fleet, and Russian civilians have been killed and wounded, this suspected Ukrainian drone hitting a packed Russian beach Monday. 3 children were killed, according to Russia. Now, this Ukrainian man, who says he cannot understand why he would be in the crosshairs of a killer drone.
And Keir Simmons joins us now live from Doha. And Keir, that is just such a remarkable video. Are those types of explosive-laden drones unique to Russia, or have they been used in other conflicts?
No, they're being used in other conflicts. And honestly, Gabe, I think that conflicts as we look ahead in the future will all involve drones. Just imagine, for example, that we have had Iranian drones fired on these countries where I am, neighboring Iran through this war. Those Shahid drones have been shared with Russia, and you've seen similar kinds of munitions used by Russia on Ukraine. And then that drone you saw in that video, that smaller drone, these are things that are kind of put together almost in an amateur style, laden with munitions. That, again, is controlled by somebody from a distance. But there's also the prospect of other drones, as I said in my report there, using AI to find their targets. I think it has real implications for the impact on civilian populations with wars in the future. And I think ultimately the challenge is going to be that they are very cheap. It's been difficult sometimes to intercept them with highly expensive interceptors. Only one needs to get through. There's new ways of trying to prevent them, but all of that is for the future. For now, they are a real menace, a real threat, Gabe.
Keir Simmons reporting live for us in Qatar. Keir, thank you. And still ahead tonight, the urgent new health warning about Chipotle, a salmonella outbreak forcing the chain to swap out some menu items. So what food is safe? We'll tell you what we know. And we're back now with the alarming new outbreak tied to a fast food chain. Chipotle saying it has removed jalapeños from its restaurants after hundreds of people were sickened with salmonella. It comes as we learn new details about illnesses linked to lettuce. Our Ann Thompson is tracking it all.
Now it's jalapeños, tonight suspected as the source of a salmonella outbreak in Minnesota. State officials say most of the 110 people who've gotten sick since mid-June ate at Chipotle. The rest dined at other Mexican-style restaurants. Chipotle reports jalapeños are used in guacamole, pico de gallo, chili corn salsa, and other items at its 4,100 restaurants. Tonight, Chipotle says it's cooperating with the investigation and has proactively removed the jalapeños from its restaurants and replaced them with product from different growers. A spokesperson says the jalapeños in question were sent to several food service retailers across multiple states, but there is no information on where else the suspected peppers were sold. The FDA says it's conducting its own traceback investigation, which began July 22nd. Salmonella now on top of the Cyclospora outbreak in more than 40 states. What's the difference between salmonella and cyclosporiasis?
Cyclosporiasis is from a parasite, and people tend to recover very slowly, but they do recover. With salmonella, we see 400 deaths a year, so it can be much more dangerous.
Tonight, the cyclospore numbers skyrocketing. The CDC says it's confirmed more than 10,000 cases and is looking into another 12,000, some of which federal officials say are linked to the recalled iceberg lettuce supplied by Taylor Farms and sold at Taco Bell.
And Ann Thompson joins us now. And back to the salmonella outbreak. Could this be bigger than just jalapeños and just Minnesota?
Gabe, believe it or not, it really could. The FDA says it's looking at multiple ingredients in its investigation, although unlike Minnesota, it has yet to identify a source. And it's also considering 212 cases. That's almost double the number reported by Minnesota. So it looks like this case, like the Cyclospora case, is going to spread as well.
A lot to watch for. Ann Thompson, and thank you. And when we come back, this wild moment caught on camera, a man leaping up just in time to avoid getting hit. You see it right there. We'll tell you what happened. But first, top stories top moment. An elite group of athletes gathered in California this weekend to compete at the annual World Dog Surfing Championship. Pups, big and small, hopped on their boards to ride those waves. They were scored on length of ride, number of waves caught, and of course, fashion. Take a listen to some proud owners.
I love it. I love it. She loves the energy. I love the energy, and yeah, so we get to go ride with our surf friends, and here we go.
He is the smallest dog that surfs and the only miniature pinscher that surfs in the entire world.
Congrats to those daring dogs on hanging 10, or would it be hanging 20? Stay with us. More top story after the break. We're back now with an NBC exclusive sit-down with the family of Kaylee Goncalves, one of the victims of the 2022 University of Idaho murders. Her sister, Aubrey, speaking for the very first time publicly.
I realize still that no words are going to bring back my sisters, but words are what's going to keep their memories alive.
It comes just a week after convicted killer Bryan Kohberger filed a petition in hopes of withdrawing his guilty plea and seeking a trial on the charges. For more, I want to bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalas. And Danny, Bryan Kohberger has been trying to withdraw his guilty plea after claiming his legal counsel was ineffective. Now, today he was appointed a new lawyer. Walk us through the process here, and do you think we'll really see a new trial?
Short answer, I don't think we'll ever see a trial because the odds are just too much against Kohberger as a petitioner. The fact that he has a new lawyer is really just procedurally what happens after he is essentially alleging that his prior lawyers did something wrong. There's a conflict. He will no longer get the public defender. Therefore, it's a court-appointed lawyer in all likelihood. He may get a hearing, but it's highly unlikely the court can dismiss this without a hearing, give him a chance to reply. But that's how most of these petitions, especially pro se petitions, are handled.
So he's trying to basically argue what? That he was coerced into this somehow? I mean, you just mentioned that him getting a new lawyer is procedural, and you don't think it affects how likely it is his petition is to succeed. But when have you ever seen this type of argument actually prevail?
I thought most of your question was, when have you ever seen this argument? And I was about to say all the time, every day. And then you added prevail. Then the answer changes. It's virtually never. These types of petitions where you allege ineffective assistance of counsel are long shots. Procedurally, they are your last chance. And Kohberger's going to have a really hard time saying he was somehow confused and coerced into pleading guilty. It's not like this is a confusion about sentencing range. This is a confusion that he's alleging about pleading guilty to murder. And he was a PhD candidate student. It's not like he's somebody who would be too confused to understand what he was doing. This is the longest of long shots for Kohberger.
Danny Savalas, our legal analyst. Danny, thank you. And now to top stories in newsfeed, starting with Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, now one step closer to being confirmed to the job. Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee voting to advance Blanche's nomination. This comes after he says he struck a deal with two GOP senators who are holding out over that so-called anti-weaponization fund that the Trump administration tried to create to give taxpayer money potentially to Trump allies. Critics called it a slush fund. The full Senate could vote on Blanche's nomination later this week. And an update on a story we've been following here on Top Story. Two men are now under arrest in connection to the death of an American Airlines flight attendant. Authorities say he went missing back in March after a night out at a club during a layover in Colombia. His body was found days later. The U.S. Embassy in Bogota says the two suspects were taken into custody in Peru. No word yet on any charges. And a close call caught on camera in Ohio. Just look at this. You can see a man climbing up onto the median wall, just getting out of the way. You're about to see it as a car crashes into an SUV. Unclear exactly why the vehicle was stopped, but police say the lane was closed to traffic. They report one person inside that SUV was taken to the hospital, but is expected to be okay. And out of Florida, a plane making an emergency landing on a highway. dash cam from a truck driver shows that small plane coming down fast, flying under an overhead sign, then hitting the road. Authorities say a pilot and a flight student were on board. Here's what they told air traffic control before it happened.
We do now have burning oil smell in the cockpit. No, we are not making the airport. We're going down on I-10. Just want to let you know, we are lined up with I-10 trying to avoid the cars.
State Highway Patrol says the plane had an engine failure during the flight. Thankfully, no one was hurt. A SpaceX booster rocket just hours away from crashing into the moon. How you could catch a glimpse. Plus, the new U.S. ban on humanoid robots made overseas, how it could impact an appliance you might have in your home right now. We'll explain right after this. We're back now and just hours away from an expected explosion on the moon. A SpaceX booster rocket barreling toward the lunar surface. The impact expected to create a new crater and kick up a dust cloud stretching miles into space. Tom Costello has more.
January 15th, 2025, a SpaceX rocket powered off the pad, sending 2 robotic landers to the moon. 18 months later, an unexpected bonus. The massive rocket booster is on its own collision course with the moon.
Essentially, a mixture of solar activity and gravity forces have put it on a path towards the moon.
At 2:34 a.m. Eastern Time overnight, that 8,000-pound booster will crash into the moon at 5,400 miles per hour, digging a massive crater, 12 feet deep, 60 feet wide. The explosion will send a plume of lunar dirt and dust as high as 60 miles above the lunar surface.
This is not near a place where humans have been before, and so I think this is like the most detailed information that we're going to get out of this specific part of the moon.
In 1970, NASA crashed Apollo 13's third stage into the moon, then measured the vibrations. In 2009, it discovered water ice after crashing a rocket into the lunar South Pole. Meanwhile, more than 130 million pieces of space junk are orbiting the Earth, from rocket pieces to flecks of paint, posing a risk to satellites, astronauts, and the space station. Last year, a Chinese spaceship with astronauts was hit by debris.
And Tom Costello joins us now. Tom, look, even though the plume will be miles high, you'd still need an advanced telescope to be able to see the crash from down here on Earth, right?
Yeah, not one of those take-home kits. You might be able to see it with a really, really good telescope focused on the moon's Einstein crater area, but probably not with the naked eye. NASA will have an orbiting probe capturing the impact, so we should get to see the impact and the giant plume of debris shooting into the lunar sky, but that could take a couple of days or so, Gabe.
So, Tom, are there any plans for NASA to clean up all that space junk? It could be a big problem.
Yeah, well, listen, and the amount is expected to double in less than 50 years. There are proposals to declutter space and all of that debris, but it's a very big, challenging problem and an expensive problem. The European Space Agency has a plan to launch a chaser satellite with robotic arms to grab and deorbit a very large rocket adapter out there. Other plans include using nets and magnetic towing, but it comes down to who, if anybody, might agree to pay for it, Gabe.
Always, the cost always a question. Yeah. Tom Costello, thank you. And now to the AI race and the new move from the U.S. targeting China, with both sides locked in on an all-out sprint to deploy AI-powered robots. The Trump administration issuing a blanket ban on all foreign-made robots, from humanoids to Roomba-style vacuums. Brian Chung explains.
The U.S. now going America first on robots. From humanoids to your Roomba.
The Roomba is made for challenges like this.
As the Federal Communications Commission moved to ban new foreign-made mobile robots, citing unacceptable risks they pose to economic and national security.
This is about mitigating our dependency and vulnerabilities going forward.
The ban affects all foreign tech, but most heavily impacts China, a robotics juggernaut that's estimated to control about 85% of the global market for humanoid robots. Tom, on a recent trip to China, seeing the robots for himself.
You're going to put these faces, these heads on the robots?
Yeah, like in the future.
The ban doesn't affect existing products already sold here, but would include new mobile mechanical devices over a certain weight, meaning humanoids, dog-like robots with 4 legs, but also swept up in the ban any new version of smart vacuums, including Roombas.
They can create maps of our houses. They have cameras on them. They can be sending data back to whatever companies they're made from. So that's where the real concern, I think, can be with the robot vacuums.
NBC News chief tech analyst Joanna Stern has tested both American-made and Chinese-made vacuums and says the ban is going to cost customers.
It means that some of the most affordable robo vacuums that they could get, they might not be able to get soon.
Beijing now threatening to retaliate as the robot race hits a new stride.
And Brian Chung joins us now. Brian, as this ban goes into effect, do we know what that could mean for robot vacuums and similar products sold here in the U.S.?
Yeah, Gabe, just to reiterate, it's not like the government's going to come knocking on your door and take away your Roombas that you have installed already. Those are legal. Those will remain legal. And so will the Roombas that are available on store shelves, or for that matter, any foreign-made smart vacuum of that sort. This is because the way the FCC does this is they certify products that are technology-based before they come into the United States for widespread retail sale. And basically, with this new ban in place, they will no longer certify new products, meaning that new versions of these Roombas, new versions of these types of robots could be subject to that ban going forward. But as far as what's on the store shelves or what you have in your home already, all of that remains safe for now, Gabe.
All right, Brian Chung, thank you. And thank you so much for watching Top Story. For Tom Llamas, I'm Gabe Gutierrez in Washington.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.